had 3 different, A, B, C, depending on what showed up. And all 3 of those, A, B, C, ties into what we've been playing with and practicing. So it's really an amazing thing to me that where we are all flowing together, because I'm 10 hours, from you guys that are here, and Dave's even further away. So this idea that it all flows together and comes together, it's just a reminder of we're all connected to something much, much larger than what we acknowledge. And it's a pretty awesome thing for us. So what I want to focus on today is not giving you another technique, not my style from where I'm at in my journey is this idea of challenging myself to maybe think outside the box, to think a little differently. Maybe to pick something where I'm weak and to work on that. And that's my challenge. So what I like to do when I come to these seminars is watch what's going on and then maybe skew just a little bit, just to challenge your thinking, maybe to get you thinking outside the box, because what I've seen in traveling to multiple seminars with different styles is we're all interconnected. We all have a lot of similar movements, and then there's also a lot of egos that keep people from learning at every level, belt level different. And black belts are some of the hardest-headed people that aren't great at wearing a white belt when they're on the mat and having a white belt mentality and picking that up. And that's not necessarily what's been going on here. There's a very good meshing of this stuff at this seminar. That's not the normal. What I've seen today is there's, especially since we've had so many higher ranks, there's not you guys don't need new stuff. You don't necessarily need maybe a new way of doing things. And so what I want to do is have you pair up with somebody that's maybe not your own style or that you've worked with a lot. And if I ask you the question, what is the #1 attack out on the street that you're going to get? What would you say? What is the most common attack out on the street that you're going to get?
Right hand.
Right punch. What's the second one? Okay, outside of a gun. I'm fast, but I'm not that fast. I'll carry that bullet. Now, what's the second one?
Shove.
Push. Right? So, and as Dave was kind of alluding to, we don't necessarily have to treat a punch differently than a shove, right? Whether it's one-handed or two-handed. So what I like you to do is pair up, and just for a few minutes, take that right punch. You know it's going to be a right punch. That gives you an advantage, okay? Take that push. You know it's going to be a push. That gives you, as a defender, gives you an advantage. But I want you to do whatever it is when the Kajikempo Sensei yesterday was talking about his go-tos. Whatever your go-to is, just work that really light on each other, and just the first move or two. I'm not worried about you finishing them and breaking their neck and spitting on their face and stomping the groin. Okay, just move the one or two. Your entry, basically. Okay, so team up. Let me watch that a little bit, and then we'll build on it. Okay, start with just a right punch, then we'll go to a push. Okay, here.
So his face went to
almost across the board, almost across the board, that first movement when he throws that right punch is I'm changing the angle and I'm moving to this point. Almost across the board, everybody's here. I did see some coming back and trapping this.
But they're wrong. No.
So if that's our go-to, right, if that's pretty much the standard, we all have that muscle memory. When he does that, I'm firing in and then I'm doing whatever I'm doing from here. Okay, let's work with that. So let me give you an idea. Joe Louis, so Kempo is a self-defense art. It's not a fighting system. Joe Louis come into the Tracy system with a fighting system, right? So I will talk a little bit about some of his concepts. And some of these you will have already heard. So the fourth dimension is time, allegedly. Joe Louis talks a lot about timing, this idea. If JD's throwing his punch and my timing is, and I'm not blocking and I'm not really changing angle, I'm going to time myself right here to a knockout, correct? If our timing when he steps in is I'm a little better and I can get inside and work my angles, okay, another Joe Louis fighting concept, work your angles in here, that helps a little bit. If my timing is such, and I'm going to block this, when he steps in, if I go here, don't move your hand. Okay. If he's stepping in to punch me and my timing's off, I'm walking right into that punch, right? So the timing portion is, I bet if I'm not going to move, and I'm just focusing on this one timing thing, when I come in and he throws his punch, I've got to move that first. So it's the timing of my hand movement, the timing of my body movement, and any other concept. So if my focus is to stand here, and we would all be dumb to stand here like this with this big dude coming at me, but if my focus is to change and recognize I know he's throwing a right punch, so working from that, what if my focus becomes a timing change? I start challenging myself to not necessarily, he throws his punch, this is one, okay, then my two, whatever that is. What if I fire on one? What if my strike, instead of being the second movement, I fire from this position? Because if we talk about, if this big guy's coming at me, and he punches, and I go, ah! Here, at least I'm covered up, right? So, using the concept of mass times velocity, or mass times speed squared, if he's coming in at 60 miles an hour, and I'm coming in at 60 miles an hour and make contact, it's not 2 times the force, it's 4 times the force. So I can quadruple the amount of impact force with him if I'm moving at the same time he does. I'm sure you've all heard that. So if I change my timing, and then I take a Muay Thai concept, that my legs are longer than his arms, right? Yes. Oh, yeah, no, you're not. Yes, you said that plenty of times. It's okay. You think I'm going to kick you in the nuts? Yeah. Okay. All right, so when he brings his punch in, what if I change my timing to 1, 2, okay? So this idea of I'm attacking, as soon as I see him move, my timing changes, and in this case, on the attack. He starts to flinch, boom. Maybe it's a breathing change, all right? Whatever it is. When I think so what I want you to do is when you're setting up with your partner, relax, and then when you see them start to go, just check it. Just lightly check it. That's all I'm looking for, okay? So I'm sitting here, he starts to move. Yeah, you're back up. A lot of telegraphing there, all right? Relax. You relax too. And then whenever you're ready, go. So this idea of we're going to start increasing that timing. There's a drill that my instructor had us do a lot of times for sparring. And if we're setting up here like this, put your hands this way, we would call the gunfighter drill, where he would start to draw. And as soon as he started to move, I try to beat that. So whatever he's doing, boom. And you'll start to pick up these subtle movements in here, and then you can fire. When we're doing sparring, one of the things where my instructor did is the dude would read us so well, it was like setting up with this master that he would be like, all right, stop. You were going to do this, I was going to do this, I'm going to cut your head off, you're going to die, kind of a thing. So this concept comes from, we're just going to focus here for a little bit, changing our time. You sit there with your partner and be relaxed with it. All right, we're not trying to kill each other. And watch your partner's movements and then decide when one person goes, just check that. Whatever it is, whatever your favorite go-to is. But instead of necessarily striking it, let's work on just that tap check, okay? So work that just a little bit. Any questions? Pretty simple? All right, go for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty much, when I see the move, I'm usually stuck in a fade. And that's what I'm watching, you know. I'm sorry. So, that's good. I always work on the synergy. So, either, even if you're not fading so that's what I'm doing.
I saw your shoulders drop, so
Okay, let me give you another concept to think about while you're still working that.
Any changes?
So Joe Lewis said the best time to hit somebody is when they're in transition. Right? So this idea of if I'm working my timing such that when he flinches, his mind is I'm moving from point A to point B and whatever that looks like. And I'm catching him in that transition. The other concept that goes along with it is you can, if we start using mirror neurons, talking about that, when I'm watching how he's moving and we're just working on my perception of that, then I can maybe start to manipulate them just a little bit by overemphasizing my breathing. Because or in the case of Joe Lewis, we're sparring from the 1, 2, 3, 4 strike, 1, 2, 3, 4 strike, and then I use broken rhythm, 1, 2, boom, and pop in here. So that timing issue, this time when you're watching your opponent and you're trying to read them, what I'd like you to do is catch them where you've already made contact before. So if he throws his punch, it doesn't really count if I'm checking him and he's already got his weight here. I don't think that's improving your timing, right? So when he throws his punch, I want to catch him before his weight's there. That's my intercepting timing. That's not the same as if he gets that set. Because if we change this from he's stepping in here, I can check this, but if I disrupt him in a transition here, notice it completely changes how he lands with them. So when you're working this a little bit, think about that. As they're coming in, if you're finding that their weight's already set before you've disrupted them, then you're late on your time. Okay? It's too easy to get into 1, 2, 3, 4 strike. 1, 2, 3, 4. Catch them on the half beat. 1, boom. They're thinking 1, 2, or 1 as one movement. In here, you better be catching on in the half. That's when you want to catch it. Okay? And that's why I want to keep it light, because they're moving fast, you're moving fast. I don't want you to kill each other. So, yeah, go for it.
So,
just the interception.
go back and forth, or you want to just go straight
Oh, that was good. He couldn't see it. What I see, he was coming in, his foot's right, and then breathing change. So if you would make that contact, he's in the air like that.
Yeah. How about that?
So I get it. What you couldn't see is his body was.
Oh, intercepted, right?
I do this. You're controlling it better. I'm still in that. You're still you might not, that's the concept.
Man, that's real.
Right there, right there. change it.
What you'll find is you cannot do this if you're sitting there like this, ready for them to go. It doesn't work. You're going to be slow. Relax. What?
Did you take ring your shoulders? Keep it back.
Until you realize just watching it, then you change and read it.
Okay, add into it just a little bit, JD. So when Dave was talking, so when Dave was talking earlier, when we were looking at this push this way. So as you're working now, back up. As he comes in, try to make that timing the same thing, where when he's pushing, it's not 1, 2. All right, we're going to blend that just a little bit, where my timing is, I catch him in transition. So in that case, I'm watching when he fires, and we're kind of meeting, ideally, in that halfway point. No, this is not necessarily great self-defense in that I'm just redeflecting that, but we're also really isolating. The whole idea with this is to isolate my timing, my reading ability of him. So I missed, no big deal, right? So this idea is I'm still connected, and my timing is because this, when he's stepping into punch, he's expecting me to be there, or worst case scenario, he steps into punch. Most people go here, and then he follows up, right? He's not expecting me to be here and meet him in on this. So where his energy and intention is, my spacing here, now I've caught him. Even if I'm going to step straight in, I should have told you that, but much weaker for him when he does that because he's not where his intentionality was. All right, so play with that a little bit where you're coming in and then check, instead of, that's what I want you to fire. Check that, work that off angle, and you'll see the difference between he steps in and it's a 1, 2, nothing wrong with that. But if I come in and I catch him in transition, then from here, notice his balance is completely different. We start adding to this turn, then I can do my follow-ups and come in and make my strikes. Okay? Play with that.
Yeah. Usually got your hand halfway in between. Sorry. I'm already. I have to.
Or you still got to catch the first one.
When he does that, your brain has it, and it's got a roadmap. If he just intercepts it, it's going to be,
You'll start here.
Yeah, they're going to come up here first.
once I get you spinning here, I can never let now you're equal. This is equal.
Because now I can still, if I'm
Then you're on the retreat or whatever it is.
yes, we're still equal. So for me to bounce
Absolutely. Break his arm.
now I'm in transition from balance. You're totally the same way.
You want me to go around?
You're anticipating.
Yeah, that's what,
but here, no. So, but I do have it in it.
Distraction here.
If I get out of this, that's and we get that way.
Yeah, I always try to keep at least this amount of distance between us.
It would be better to do it while you're in there. Or if I'm
Close to give conversation.
Okay, now, left punch. Exact same thing, your opponent throws a left punch.
Yeah, exactly right.
We've already been doing it.
Okay, well, you're just advanced, JD. You earned those stars ahead of time. Gold star to
I know you're
JD.
left-handed, so.
Yes, that's what he one shot. Yeah. No, that's where I'm going. They won't be today. I'll bring you up. Oh, you do. Oh, don't make me perform for you, Dave. I'll miss out on everything. I'll listen to this stuff. Okay, so Master Hopper asked a question. This is where we were going. We'll go ahead and advance there. Come on, come up here. So his question is, so you just restated because it was perfect.
Okay. So, for example, if I'm throwing the right punch to push, and you're stepping and you're pushing off of it, that does require you to wait till the attack happens. But in real life, we talked about the guy throwing the right haymaker. I'm not going to be the trained guy that starts here and just steps and throws it. I'm going to wind up. Why not check this shoulder while it's way back here before you even start any forward motion? So it's kind of working. That was my question: is are we going to get to that position?
Right. Once you're accelerating your ability to recognize their movements, then ultimately the goal is to say, just stop. You were going to throw this right haymaker. I'm going to kick you in the nuts, and you're going to cry.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what we want to get to, right? So, but that's not the practice necessarily. It takes a lot of practice. That's a longer journey. And some people, I can just walk around the room. Some of you are very there or very close, and others are still working on that. So I think timing is a basic that we should be working on from the very beginning and taking out less of the 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, and let people start using senses other than just their eyes. And that's the one thing is, if he pulls back to throw that punch, right, that's a visual. But if I'm really present with him, and I've trained myself to be relaxed, I'll pick up on whatever it is. I won't know what it is necessarily. There'll be something about him when he's ready to move. I go, oh crap! Like his eyeball just changed. He literally was thinking. His right eye dilated, and I said, okay, the dude's thinking about what he's going to do. He's probably going to hit me. So I was like, bam! I was ready. As he moved, that's what he's going to catch. All right, that's what we want to work to.
Your eye dilated back, so I decided not to do it.
What now?
Your eye also dilated,
Did
so I
it?
changed my mind.
Did you? Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's why you got the 8. Okay. Got me sidetracked. All right, so
Rabbit.
it's one thing, as we were saying, to meet 50-50. But my ultimate, the goal with this practice is exactly what Dave was saying. This traditional karate punch, like we talked about yesterday, is not going to end up on the street. So they're going to do something. And if a lot of times the right punch as they're loading this up is here, this is what I call gauging. They come in gauging to pull, or they're pushing, they're gauging that distance. That's why I think you have to work against the left, too, because the push is a strike, right? So in this, if we're in this position and he's set up, he knows something's about to happen. He knows it is. So,
I'm not still here then.
yeah, right. So if he knows it's about to happen, what's his focus? Is his focus to hit me? Because I guarantee you, if your focus, if Dave is setting up and my thinking is I'm going to knock the fudge out of this dude, I guarantee I'll move slower than if I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking, okay, I'm here, here we go, dude, whatever you want to do, boom, and fire that in, right? If you can start to control yourself and work, your timing becomes, I'm still operating from self-defense because he's instigating it. I've seen, whatever, micro-expression, whatever it is, and as long as you see it, it's okay. Then that's your timing key. It doesn't have to be that hip. It doesn't have to be the shoulder. So if you can get out of your own head and thinking about getting it right and just be present in the moment, start to look for that in your opponent and see what you pick up, and then tell them. Just tell them. Or ask, what did you see? Dang, I wasn't even ready. This is what I see. Maybe it makes sense, maybe it doesn't. But it will progress you beyond just this idea of the 1, 2, 3, 4. Because I think if the goal is to stop it as quick as we can, I mean, I love long Kempo techniques where we're just, doing all that stuff. It's great to know it. That's not what I want to do on the street. And so if my goal is I can go, all right, seriously, man, seriously. I mean, your hands twitching, just relax. Then if he fires, then we go from there. So start to pick that up. Stay with the left punch because it challenges your mind. We practice against the right so much. It challenges your mind to really get out of muscle memory and work the other side. And then you have to think about it and process. Yeah. Nope. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for helping me stay.
Good job.
Or, if they're not really that good, then they'll move, and then they'll go, and throw it.
And you know what? If you do that and they don't react to it, they're not gonna move. They're just too slow. Yeah, you go like this, right? And you're within striking distance. And that guy doesn't make any changes to his stance or position or whatever. Because, I mean, if you're gonna kick, I'm not gonna come out here, right?
Well, I mean, I know you're
If he doesn't give you anything, then there's no sense.
Then you make it more obvious.
Exactly.
You give them a bigger target. What?
Working out. Trying to get as many pictures of the action as possible.
You guys going back and forth on one?
When you punch here, you're doing this, you're crossing over.
I was counting my head. So when you're going back and forth,
Okay.
don't get in that rhythm,
You punch
right?
here,
So, yeah.
and you do
Because it's really easy with your training partner. Okay,
You went like this.
boom. He comes back and says, one or two. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And then you're defeating the whole purpose. Because you're not having to read now. You gotta make it flop up first, not line it up. That was much better.
Okay.
Let's try to get that.
let's add one more little concept to it. The idea of you're working your timing. Think of it as a, like right here with the chess game, you're trying to beat your opponent, feints, whatever it is. So working from the right, go back to the right punch, so that's where everybody's comfortable. Let's talk about the difference, or work on the difference between the height punch. So this concept of we've worked this, he's throwing his punch, I'm meeting him, whatever it is, checking whatever I want to do here. Okay? If I do that same thing, because most people, as we were saying, when I asked what was your go-to, the go-to was, I am checking this arm, coming in here, striking, whatever it is. If I want to, so I'll challenge you just a little bit, and from your stance, when he comes in, work one. Here, instead of my entire mass having to move in and meet him, this can get there a lot quicker. So if I meet him here, right, then from here I can come in and fire. So one of the things, so working with Williamson, yeah, it's not cup. So working with Williamson yesterday, this idea, if we take delayed sword, all right, when he steps in with this delayed sword concept, we're taught, I check here, I hit here, and I come in. If I apply this same timing, right, where I'm going to meet him as he's coming in, when he makes that step, I'm catching him and exploding in, boom, right here, making that concept. So when Williamson yesterday was working, step in just for a second, working that idea of deflecting here and here, my timing becomes, he's catching all three of those before I land. 1, 2, 3, he's catching my mass this way. So the faster he's coming, it's that in here, this way. Then from here, come up, boom, come in here. So when we change our timing, and you put it on whatever technique you want, right? Whatever, my go-to, because when I was fighting, when they moved in, this, on the street, the few interactions I've had where somebody's come at me, that front push kick, that front thrust, keeps them off me. That's my go-to. My leg's longer than their arm, right? So from here, that same thing, if he comes in with that left, boom, my timing is to catch him, boom, here. Disrupts his balance enough to let me get my entrance, and then I'm going to finish. So don't kill each other's legs, but when you work it down, we're going to work different heights. If I'm going to go inside to the right, and he steps in, my timing is I'm going to meet him here. If I can slow this down, flying through the air, boom, catching him here, and then here's where I'm closing my distance, right? My strike becomes here, then I can close my distance. So challenge yourself a little more to be moving in with a strike in the air, okay? Make sense? Any questions? All right, let's do that.
I missed the whole takedown thing. Can you do that again?
So I'll show you this. Actually, did this.
Don't go so slow this
I
time.
didn't really know exactly what he did, it just felt like a grid.
So I did this at GOE. So the concept is, as he's stepping in, right, I'm changing the angles of the strikes for the delayed sword. Because instead of hitting down like we have, when I'm setting in here, and I'm mostly in a neutral stance, when I fire this in, he's catching this energy coming up through that femoral. At the same time, I'm cutting up, down here, okay? Check, boom, this way. Then, in American Kempo, we'd come up under the chin. I come here, turn this way. Because where his head goes, his body will follow. Then I can from there.
Hey, you didn't film it again, bud.
So my thinking is this: on the street, when he steps forward, his mind is hitting me here. I'm moving here, and instead of just this, why not take that target he's giving me at the same time with just that boom, that shin right in there to that femoral. Then I'm landing here, so he's catching my mass in this. And if you do this pretty good, just right there, you'll watch their eyes roll up in the back of their head. Yeah. Back then, watch. Okay.
Pack your one eye going one way, the other eye went the other way. Yeah.
All right, so work that, just more,
Hey, I think he's just.
just tap it, you're not trying to kill the person's leg. So. If I can catch you, now if you've got all your weight planted, this doesn't work. I mean, it will if I do a Thai style kick, and pop. I want to catch it and come again. Then the other thing is, if I take this from and flip, and you're stepping out, just check right here. It's my focus becomes on hurting more to disrupting. So your mindset is I'm going to step here, and as you do that, and the faster you're moving, the more you're spread. Did I say that? I didn't know I was saying either one of those. Wow. I didn't even know it was in my vocabulary.
Yesterday I said,
Bam. Emerald.
I caught myself, you know.
I know. There's a few of these boys up here that are that way.
You're already close to more for us. I could use you here.
Yeah, I kind of got that. Well, he did
Yeah, he was that way. I got students. Oh, yeah. He steps in right. Just tap that because he's stepping in. Sorry. My focus becomes here and lost what I was doing here.
That's the one that was funny, because a lot of times it feels like it's
Yeah. You want to kick me back?
No, do something more than take a picture.
Hey, okay, so Trey had a really, sorry, Master Hand had a really good point.
For once.
From your past training.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's from here is to kick that leg. If you kick that leg hard enough, it moves it out here. So when I set, now I made them go into a split.
Yeah.
So going off of what you did, from here, if I could, no, you do it. From here,
okay.
if I'm coming in,
I just, instead of that, what I didn't show you guys is, let's do it this way. I'll get my right leg. If I'm sitting here and I can catch him, if he step and punch, he steps and punches. If his weight gets on this leg, this kick doesn't really work as much. It does if I'm jacking that way, okay? But this next one, I got to catch him in transition. When he comes in, I just bump, right here, okay? So the movement for me is nothing that much different. Just put your leg out there. So I'll do it from this side. I can do it from the outside too. All I'm doing is just this Tai Chi type move here. And so I just come in and catch this way. Again, it doesn't, I tried this on Williamson last spring, and once he got his weight set, it didn't work. But if I do this where I'm exploding in and catching him in movement, then he's really disruptive. And then taking what Craig was saying, that would be my next go-to. Here, check. I'm destroying this one. Boom! Right here. And coming out. So, yeah, great question. One more quick thing. So, throw your right with your left, right punch with your left leg forward. You step in left. So this same concept, yeah, this way. This same concept, if I'm sitting here and he does that, my timing, I don't have to change my technique. I might change where I land a little bit. I'm still, if I catch him in transition, it just becomes a straight flipping thrust. I'm still aiming at that back leg in there. So when I move in and make that catch, boom, in here. You can see his body is meeting my entire mass. What was it you quote that when you said, for everything has to stop at the same time?
Yeah. So people talk about focus being when everything stops at the same time. What people hear is everything that was moving stops at the same time. But for everything to stop at the same time, everything has to be moving a millisecond before that. And everything means your middle toe on your left foot is moving. Everything is moving. That's
yeah. So this idea where when I'm catching him in transition, I'm not catching him in transition with just my hands here, right? We could do that. I want to get very close with him. So my entire, I want, especially with my size, but it doesn't have to be my size. I've got one little student, she's 125 pounds, and when her working on her timing, I guarantee you if she catches me in transition and I eat an elbow to the chest, I'm done. I'm done for the day, y'all. So she's not going to wrestle with me, right? So because she doesn't have my strength, it's all about giving her, choosing what she can. And when she comes in and makes that everything, whether it's checking me here, because this doesn't take power. This is not a power thing. This is just a body mechanics to disrupt him. Even this outside, okay? And even if he doesn't turn much because he got that weight on there, his brain all of a sudden says, hey, I just got kicked. Yeah, right? I mean, in the moment that I kicked you, you had to go, hey. Yeah, so it's like GPS. Driving down the road, you miss a turn or you turn a different direction, the GPS says, recalculating. So in that moment when he's striking me, he has a roadmap and a plan. I'm just going to adjust a little bit and he has to recalculate. That's the transition time, right? While he's recalculating, I go, now quit. Just quit. Just stop right here. Okay. And then he's going, what the heck? The other thing we used to do, so like we're setting up for sparring, and everybody goes, your shoe's not tight. No. If you go, oh, it's Julius, they go, what? Yeah, something, distract them. It's all the same concept. This idea of, I just play with the timing and make you play my game. Right? Yeah. That's all I got, y'all. Thank you very much.
I will take a break. That last one, that's why I was bumping it. I thought you were going to say something about it. Not, that's why I was saying.
I still caused a reaction.